morning. Thank you for joining us for our movement break. Today for our flex movement break, we are going to focus on the neck and upper back, and it's going to be a routine of 5 functional or fundamental exercises that you can do throughout the day, throughout the week. And so it's just a little routine that you can learn. It should only take you about 10 minutes or so. We're going to go a little slower today just because it's a learning component to this. So you might need for this video, either you can use a towel roll, a large towel roll, or you can use a yoga block if you have one of those. But the first exercise that we're going to start with, so there's 5 of them. So Jared's going to be seated in an upright posture. He's going to, if you can, be in a cross-legged position. It's going to create more tension throughout your spine and your body. If that's not comfortable, you could do this sitting up in a chair, but the idea is that we're going to try to create tension throughout the body, and then we're going to try to move through a range of motion, moving each joint. So the first one, you're going to sit cross-legged, resting your hands on your knees. You'll begin first by flexing the chin towards the chest. And so when Jared starts this, he's going to flex down, and then he's going to actually turn his chin towards his right shoulder. He's going to allow his eye gaze to follow him, and then he's going to move into, eyes are going to look up towards the ceiling, and then he's going to rotate through some extension of the neck. Eye gaze comes down towards that left shoulder, and then staying flexed and forward, returning his chin to chest or midline. So he's going to repeat that sequence, and again, you're going to follow your eye gaze, or let your eye gaze move direction. This is a slow, purposeful movement to take the cervical joints through the entire range of motion, starting with flexion or bending first, then adding in the rotation component, and then there's an extension component in this exercise. Once you reach midline with that first one, you're going to change direction. So now he's going to keep his chin tucked and move to the left. Eye gaze looks up towards the ceiling, and then back over to the right shoulder, and then chin staying tucked back to midline. We'll do one more side, or one more time on each side, so 2 total repetitions on each side. And this is not just doing neck rotations or circles, this is purposeful movement of those cervical joints through all the available range of motion. Okay, so just with that simple first exercise, you should be able to assess, does my neck really stiff, or do I need to do a few more of them, or does it feel pretty good, like I was able to get through all of my available range of motion. The next one is trunk cars, and so that stands for neck controlled articular rotations. And so we just finished the neck cars, we're going to try the trunk cars. So we'll use a yoga block, or if you have a large towel roll. So Jared's going to hug his block, and actually I'm going to have Jared turn to the side so that you, actually let's turn the other way. There we go. So just for viewing purposes and for cueing, so I'll do the front. So you're just going to hug your towel or your yoga block. And now we're going to work this mid to upper back region. This is where a lot of people get really sticky and tight from sitting all day and having that kind of forward head posture that gets fatigued. So we're going to actually move through this upper and mid back, but to create more tension through the spine, you're going to hug that yoga block, and then you'll begin again by flexing your chin down towards your chest, and then Jared's going to rotate his elbow towards his right hip. So right elbow towards his right hip. Then he's gonna let his eye gaze come up towards the ceiling, and he's gonna come back, rotating around so that the left elbow comes to the left hip, and then rotating back around to the midline. Okay, so you can hold a little less extension in that neck when you come back around. So he's gonna come back around again. So the cue is taking that right elbow to the right knee, and then just kind of staying up tall. And then he's just gonna rotate through this mid-back, rotate that left elbow to the left hip, and then back down into midline. Okay, now he's going to change direction. So we want 2 repetitions on each side again. So this time he's going to flex his neck down, and he's going to rotate his left elbow towards his left hip, and then he's going to come and he's going to sit up tall and over. And again, your eye gaze is just going with that elbow. And back to midline. Okay, so we're going to cue him to sit up tall again. Sit up tall. Rotate. Head's flexed. Then rotate. So flexion of the neck, or bending of the neck forward, always comes first. And then he's going to rotate. Back up. Is that 2 reps? Okay. So that's just, again, 2 reps, and you're just trying to think of like it's a golf ball sitting on a tee, or you're just trying to rotate through that whole available range of motion on that spine, or that golf ball sitting on a tee, so that you kind of do this circular pattern through your spine, through the available range of motion. And you might find that you're maybe more stiff one direction versus the other, or maybe just generally very stiff. Jared's a little stiff, so that's all right, we're gonna work on that. So the next exercise is just gonna be kind of a global flexion extension exercise. We've done a lot of this in our past videos. So it's going to be on all fours, cat-cow, okay? So where we've used cat-cow in the past is more of a spinal flossing, but we're gonna think of a joint mobility with this cat-cow, all right? So you're in this all fours position, and you're gonna think about that neutral spine. So Jared's got that neutral spine from head, mid-back, down to tailbone, and for his cat, he's going to tuck his head, and he's really going to separate those shoulder blades, and he's going to create all motion between those shoulder blades and keeping those shoulders away from the ears for his first position of cat. And then as he sinks, he's going to sink down, and head's going to come up. And again, you're trying to almost squeeze the shoulder blades together as you're coming into this extension position. And then again, you're going to press the floor away, coming up into that rounded. So you're trying to get all of that motion in between your vertebrae. And then you're going to, again, sink between, keeping those shoulders away from the ears, and back up. So you're going to do 5 repetitions of this exercise. Yep, tip all the way back as you can, and then back up. And make this a mindful, purposeful movement. So it's not just checking out and going through the motion. It's not just stretching. It's trying to work through all the available range of motion and kind of figure out where your sticky points are. So after 5 repetitions of that cat-cow, we're going to move into something called scapular presses. You're going to stay in this same position, but this time it's almost as if you're going to keep your arms straight and push the floor away, separating the shoulder blades. So now you're activating those muscles to separate the shoulder blades arms stay straight, and then you're going to squeeze or pinch the shoulder blades together for maybe 3 seconds, and then again you're going to press the floor away, then slowly squeeze or pinch the shoulder blades together. And again, so if you're pausing, you take a quick pause and look at the screen. Jared's head is still in line with his spine and his pelvis. Go ahead and move up. And then he's going to, again, create motion in between these shoulder blades, bringing them together. And notice how he keeps his head in this neutral position. Head is not moving in this fourth exercise. Go ahead and up. So he's activating those shoulder blades, pressing up, and then he's going to activate his shoulder blades, squeezing them together. These are called scapular squeezes or your shoulder blade squeezes. Let's do one more. And then after 5 reps of the scapular squeezes, you're going to actually come down to your belly, and you can either rest your forehead on a floor or you can use your towel roll, which I would probably prefer. That way your face isn't smashed into the floor. Resting that forehead, perfect. Resting that forehead on your towel roll, arms are at your side. We've also done this particular exercise in the past as well. It's called cervical retraction. So I'll do it in a seated position, but what Jared's going to be doing in this prone position or laying on his belly is he's actually going to recruit those muscles in the front of his neck or his throat muscles. He's going to retract his head, and he's going to move it away from the towel roll up towards the ceiling. And he's usually going to use these muscles in the back of his neck. And it's going to be as if he smelled something bad. Okay, so that's our cue that we want to think about is you tuck like, ooh, I smelled something bad. And you're going to try and pause and hold it there for 3 seconds and then slowly lower it back down. You're not going to tip your head back. You're going to try and keep everything as neutral and in alignment as you can. Do I need to change your towel roll? Is it not in a good spot?
Oh, it's good.
Okay. So I was just gonna try to adjust his towel roll, because if we tip the towel roll away, then you'll see, so he's here, he tucks his chin, and then he lifts back and up. So when I say lifts back and up, it doesn't mean that he's bending his neck and looking up towards the ceiling. He's just coming straight up as if there's a string coming out of his head, and he's lifting using the muscles in the back after he's found the muscles in the front. And he's going to hold that for 3 seconds, and then he's going to relax back down. And you're going to repeat that 5 repetitions, holding for 3 seconds at the top. And that's your 5th and final exercise for your neck and upper back routine. Sometimes this exercise that we're ending with, I'll have people do it in a car where they're just tucking their chin and maybe pressing into their headrest and holding for 3 seconds and then relaxing. Something you can do at a stop sign. It's again just to open those joints in the back and then do a little strengthening. Okay, so that will end our movement break today, showing you the 5 fundamental exercises that you can do for your neck and upper back. So homework this week is to practice that routine, and then we will repeat this again next week, which is Thanksgiving week, and hopefully you can join us. This will be posted, so you could review it and be ready to go next week, and join us again next week, Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you.